Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this morning. Got a bad show lined up. Just kidding. We've got a great show lined up. Just wanted to say that for one time out of 4,000 shows that we do. But we really appreciate the viewership, and we really appreciate the feedback y'all give us. Weather brought to us, talking about good folks and all, Drew Pollard up there at Gulf Coast Air Conditioning in Southport, taking care of our comfort needs. High today 83, low 73. Water temperature exactly what it was yesterday. I don't know if they check it every day or just check it every couple of days, but exactly at 81 degrees. The river readings brought to us by Mountain Dew. Own the outdoors of Mountain Dew, as you can guess. The Apalachicola is reading right at 11 foot. Now, they've got it leveling off. I guess what that means, they've shut those gates up at a dam, they shut them off, and so it's leveling off at around 11 foot. So that's high, but it's not, not as high as I thought it was going to get. The Choctaw at Caryville, it's at 11 foot also. And it's going up a little bit more, but it's going to be high water for the weekend. If you're planning any kind of freshwater outing, it's going to be high. Now, one good thing about that, like I've said before, you can get up in those sloughs, and if it starts dropping out, that's some really good fishing. And I want to mention the Bayfly Hatch. I talked to a guy from Weewall the other day, and those guys they know about the mayflies, and we were talking about it. And you have two, basically, from what the locals say, you have those two hatchings. And I've already had that first one, but the second one should be any time now after this full moon and all. So there could be even high water. They're still going to be up in those limbs and all, going to be hatching out. So keep an eye on that. And it's sort of a secretive thing. We don't. I say we, the locals, just don't like for other people. It's not they don't like for other people to know about it. They just want to. They feel like they're out there looking and they spending time on it, and it's their area right there. They've always caught fish in. They don't want to spread the word, and I can understand that, and I can appreciate that. They don't put it on social media. Let's move on. We got our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today is June the 24th, and by the way, before we get to the tide chart, we've had our summer equinox. We'll talk about that later. Days starting to get shorter. Can you believe that? But today's the 24th, and we're looking at a high tide, 8:48 this morning, and strong, going out to 8:07. And the wind sort of changed direction. It's been south-southwest for 7 or 8 straight days, but now it's coming east-southeast at about 5 to 10. That's sort of a little refreshing kind of change in wind direction right there, east-southeast. Okay, let's take our break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're going to start off with a picture that's just going to put a smile on your face. It's just as simple as that. Check out this picture right here. This is, I want to read Father's Day fishing. Hey, Coach Chester. This is Carrie Halls, a former student. I remember you well, Carrie. I wanted to share this adorable picture of my little girl, Kenley Halls, whom went fishing with her daddy, Billy Halls, on Father's Day. Folks, is that not a precious picture right there? My heart belongs to Daddy. And I wrote back to her. I said, Carrie, you've got to frame this one. This is definitely a framer. It's one you always have great memories of. That. What a great picture right there. Okay, Sea-Quarter tournament. We got the poster on the tournament this week. This past week. This is 18th anniversary. Now I mentioned it's not going to be. It's the first full weekend of August, which is August 6th and 7th. I want to encourage you to go down there and fish out. I'll tell you where to go. I'll tell you where we catch big fish, and I'll share all the information and how to catch them if you want to go fish it. But look at this at the bottom right here. All profits go, and this is why you want to fish it. All profits go to the Leukemia Research Foundation. Listen to this, $1,050,000 donated in the past 17 years, and this is good. And as a guaranteed payout, that weekend, they're gonna pay out $20,000 that weekend. I mean, it's just, we have all kinds of tournaments, but this is one of the best there is. And buy some raffle tickets if you can't go. Speaking of shark bites the other day, I just want to make sure you understand, this is over at Destin, and this is some shark fisherman, and he only caught about 10, and all but two, this one didn't, they was able to land this one. The other of them, the rest of them were bigger than this, and they spooled, what they call spooled them. They just took the line off and kept on going. Well, there's some shark fishing that night in the Destin Pass, and I can promise you, they're the same size right here in the St. Andrew Pass and right down there in St. George Island, in the old pass there, and especially at Indian Pass. They're huge sharks. And here's another one they caught. Look at that mouth. But now they won't attack you, but they might bite you. All right. All right, next picture here. This weekend, the North Florida Redfish Series, the championship is this weekend. You know, we went to a couple of those local guys putting on this North Florida Redfish Series. This is the last weekend of it, and they're holding over here at St. Mark's, and that's a neat place. If you've never been down there, the Shields Marina, which is a historically that's been down there a long time. They sort of revamped it. It didn't used to look this nice, but the Shields family, they got a boat store and all there. If you want to ride down, that's a beautiful area, St. Mark's, and that's where the championship's going to be. So good luck, guys. I know Braden and some of our local guys are going in there fishing it. Good deal right there. I ran across this. For sale, a parachute, only used once, never opened. Okay. Now, this is a great story here. I'm gonna show you the picture, okay? Okay, here's the pictures right here. Okay, this is Chris Purser. I'm gonna go back to pictures. Winner of the 2021 annual Invitational Cove Boys Trout Tournament. It was this past weekend, a 26.25 trout weighing 5 pounds, 3 ounces. It was caught, listen to this, folks, caught on a topwater artificial that was sitting still for at least 30 to 45 seconds while I was checking my weather radar on my phone to see how close the lightning was striking to us. Okay, let's go back, look at the pictures. Here it is right here. There's Chris. Chris, I know him well. He's a manager up there, Autosave up there in Lynn Haven, the Collette family's place. Chris is a good man, a good fisherman, and really does a good job managing the store up there. That is a fine one. And here's what they do with the Cove Boys. There's first place right there. Okay, now here's the story. But what happens, you get a green, instead of like the Masters, you get a green jacket. If you win the Cove Boys, you get a green shirt. The guy in the front was last year's winner, and that's Chris right there getting a green shirt for winning the Cove Boys. I think that's a good tradition. I know they had a good time there at that weigh-in, so good job, Chris. Okay, big one right there. I'm gonna give credit to this Ronald Mathis up there in Lynn Haven. Ronald has a good sense of humor. Price of wood is so high. I just seen a termite with an EBT card. Okay, let's take a break on that one right there. Okay, welcome back. I want to go over again how Chris caught that winning trout in the Cove Boys tournament this past weekend. Now, what he said, and I won't tell you where he's fishing, but he told me, I talked to him personally, and he was telling me what happened. He'd been fishing hard, everything, and he and his fishing partner were working in the area, and they heard some thunder, and the partner said, well, we better check and see how close that lightning is. So Chris picked it, had thrown out there, and the lure was sitting in the water. He picked up his phone, like we all do, and checked the radar. And I love doing that. He was checking it and trying to find out how close the lightning was, because they were a little bit away from shore, or where to get back to safe area. And he said he looked on it, and by that time, the pole, that lure sit there for what he said, 30 to 45 seconds. That lure just sat there, and he'd been working it all the time. And that's when that big trout hit that. Now, isn't that amazing how fishing works like that? I'm always fascinated with nature, and how sometimes you think you have it figured out, but you don't. And speaking of nature, I'm going to show this little segment here. I'm going to give a lead up to it. This is in our kitchen, so Gail wasn't too excited about this. Every now and then we'll get a creature in the house, and it's living on the water. Sometimes it's a crab, so check this out. This is, let's see if it's going to move. Let me see. This is a little crab. Okay, let me go back to it. Look at it. It's alive. So I have to, I wanted to film it, but she wanted me to get it, so I ended up, I got a dustpan and got it. But anyway, it's just, on occasion, I told her it's going to be good bait, but she wasn't interested in it. But speaking of nature, we had I've talked about this before, the Jubilee over in Mobile Bay, and it's unscheduled when it happens. Well, just had a Jubilee last week, and I thought it's so ironic. On one end of our distant viewing area is in Mobile Bay, and they're having a Jubilee. On the other end is over in Tallahassee. They had Lake Jackson and dried up. We're talking about nature doing some crazy things and fascinating things. So on the Jubilee, the guy took a picture, and the Mobile Bay Estuarine Society, there's a group of people over there, the conservationists all, and they were raving over this picture because they've never seen one like it. When a Jubilee occurred, I'm going to show you this picture. It's, okay, this is an alligator. You can see the tail, okay, see the head, and the gator has a flounder in his mouth. This is pure nature, okay? This is during the Jubilee last week on Mobile Bay, and folks are raving of a one-of-a-kind picture, and I just wanted to share this with you. And I was reading, trying to make sure I want to give the guys credit. It's the program over there, and it's over. That Jubilee happened around Daphne, Alabama. Daphne's on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay. Been there, know some folks over there in Daphne. The guy that took the picture, I'll try to find his name, give him credit, but he did. I'll find it. Native Fairhope out over Frank Potter is the guy that took the picture, and he said not only did that gator eat one flounder, he counted either 7 or 8 flounder that gator ate. Because if you're not familiar with it, all the crabs come up, the shrimp come up, and the fish come up, and they're floating on the water. And it's like a free seafood buffet for anything else. But the folks who live around Mobile Bay, they know about it, and when it happens, they used to send word on telephone and everything, but now we just instantly people know about it. Go down there and wash tubs. It's just free seafood, and you need to get it because it's going to die. What happens on the Jubilee? It's the oxygen in the water, the oxygen level. It's sort of complicated. I read 3 or 4 pages on it last night. Same thing I've read before. But you have some holes there, and the oxygen gets trapped in there. And sort of what it says, the bottom layer of water sort of flips over, okay? And so it traps the oxygen. So the fish going up there to get oxygen, and they run out. So they're just sort of floating, stunned. And I've talked to people who've done it before, who went out and got the fish and crabs, and it is a buffet for sure. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and just talking about how interesting this nature itself is. Doing, like I said, on one end you got Mobile Bay last week doing that, and then you got Lake Jackson drying up. So I just got a kick out of that. And also during the storm this past last couple of days, I was watching, and I call these observations from my window. I saw 2 things that just unique to me that you probably wouldn't even notice. But there was an osprey and a real heavy wind we were having. Sometimes those osprey and all would sort of fly around, and I've got a tree, and one of them lit on the limbs, sort of over the water, which is a lot of times they'll go there. But I was sort of watching him, and he just did something, not a big deal, but he was like that. But when the wind was blowing really hard, he sort of leaned into the wind, and then when the wind died down, he sort of lifted back up. And then when a big gust would come, he'd lean down again. I just thought how the natural production, how nature is, and to protect itself and little things like that. When it's raining really hard, animals sort of get up on the palmettos and all. And they didn't read that in a book. They just part of the survival part of nature and all. The second thing I observed, and I thought this was cool, I've seen it before. We had a steady southwest wind, and coming, so it blows stuff in the North Bay, and it will do this, especially if it has sustained winds for a day or two, sort of like we did with the storm this past week. And what happened, I see these pelicans are flying around, and they're soaring. But what happens, the bait fish gets blown up there further and further up in the North Bay, so we're out there in front of the house, and they're just diving. And all that wind, they're still diving down, and they're not worried about the wind direction or anything like that. So I just thought that was cool, my observation of nature. Now I also have then one of the viewers sent some stuff in. William Jones, I want to read what he said. Up here in Alpha, speaking of just observing nature, he said, "Hey Coach, it's Bill over in Alpha. I'm not a turkey hunter, but I love seeing these majestic birds. I thought coyotes had got all the turkey from around here," which we've talked about that before. And we've always sort of thought these, coyotes are really doing some damage to turkey, okay? But here, on my way out this morning, I saw 3 hens, and which had a few poults behind them, following them on the side of the road. Looked like each one had hatched a week or so apart. So that was 3 hens now. Little ones were in 3 different sizes. It must have been 15 or 20 baby birds they saw. Now that's interesting. He saw that from the road with 3 hens with 3 different hatchings so that's sort of refreshing to know that you can see that it's up there in Alpha, up there in Jackson County. So that's interesting when you see that. That's eyewitness account of what nature is doing. The turkeys can adapt. Even when the coyotes are around, the turkeys are able to adapt to it and have hatchings up there, which is, so if they're doing it there in that area, they're doing it other places. So that was refreshing, and Bill, thanks for sending that to me, all the way down from Alpha. Let's take our final break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe. We're looking at one time again today, just like yesterday. It's 11:44 to 1:44. So we're talking about, I guess, on a nature theme today, just the acts of nature and what happens in nature, and it's just fascinating to me. So I found, ironically enough, Joe Eddie had this on last night. Talking about, this is I'm going to show it. It's a 1-minute clip, and it is actually, this shows I'm going to sort of explain to you ahead of time. It's a hawk attacks a rabbit, and it's sitting on the rabbit, and then out of nowhere comes a doe that attacks a hawk. Okay, I wouldn't believe it either if I didn't see it. So Joe posted this, so we're going to, okay, here we go right here. So, all right, see the hawk went down, okay? All right, on the ground, that hawk is, okay. Here comes the doe. He circles around, and then he starts attacking the hawk. And you see, if you've been around deer before, this is how they attack with the front hooves and all. And look at them. I just sat here in amazement looking at that. See him? And he picks him. I don't know. The hawk was trying to fly away at that point. This is nature. This is, sometimes it can be brutal. I guess it's which side of the story you're on. If you're the rabbit, you don't think it's brutal. You're happy to get away. and it doesn't happen. I mean, it takes a whole minute for this to go through. Okay, I'm going to show it again real quick. Okay, there goes the hawk fly down. I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm just going to show you how the doe comes flying out of nowhere, makes this circle, and it just boom, and back around. Okay, so that's what I wanted to. I just want to share that with you. Again, that's just nature getting things done and all. So anyway, we're real tickled to have to be able to show that. We got some questions on the when we showed the Fitzhugh Carter track, and I've got some calls on it. I want to show you again where Fitzhugh Carter track is. Where the video we had the other day with Scott Lindsay and I were fishing. This is up Highway 77. The lower right-hand corner. Right there is Highway 77, and it's 5 miles north where 20 crosses 77. So you take a left on Chain Lake Road, and this gray area right here is Fitzhugh Carter, the Fitzhugh Carter tract. It's over 2,000 acres. So you go in, and the reason I kept talking about the pond, there's like 4 ponds on there, and Scott and I went all the way to the back to what we call dry pond, actually 5 or 6 little ponds, and you can fish almost each one of them, and kayak fishing is ideal. The guy that I talked to was going to take his kayak in there, but the biggest pond is dry pond right there, but you got these other little ponds too. But you call up there and check with them, make sure the times and everything, okay? But that's where it's located, up off Highway 77. And it's a really good place to fish and hiking and all kinds of things. 2,100 acres, okay? Now, speaking of fishing and all, I was thinking last night, different tools a fisherman really wants to have. I was looking on my little tool bench last night. I saw these little catfish skinners, and I was thinking, I hadn't used these in a while, but these are catfish skinners where you hang the fish up, on a nail, and then you pull the skin down like that. And I have vivid memories fond memories of my dad doing it after we set out trout lines and all. A lot of people now really just sort of fillet them out, and it's a little bit harder. But these catfish, I don't know if you need these in a tackle box or not, but I still have mine. And this right here, we just this is floatable, lightweight, and you just sort of grab the fish like that and pull them up like that. So that's something good to have too. And then I've showed these before. I gave a lot of these away, these floating pliers, and made out of. They only got one piece of metal right there to cut, and this has always been handy. Mine, you can tell mine's been used a lot. And then to take hooks out, I didn't have these in my tackle box till later on after I was a grown man, but it just removed the hooks and all, because most time we try, and we still try to do it like that, but sometimes you just can't get into the fish's mouth, so you have some kind of little forceps like that. And on a big fish, and Scott Lindsay and I talked about this before, you really, and if I'm going offshore or something, we'll have these to go down, because sometimes they really swallow way down into here. You got to go down and get it and unhook and get it out. And the survival rate is a lot better if you get that hook out. And especially on the inside. Now, if the hook's on the lip, it's not going to bother them. I know you've seen those. I know y'all have caught some fish before with a couple of hooks. The bigger the fish, the more hooks, especially some of the grouper that you pull out every now and then. You pull out some groupers been in deep water, and it's got hooks right there on the lip and all, where they've gotten away, broke the line off. So anyway, just some tools to have for your tackle box and all. So make sure you get those in there. All right, I got to wrap it up. Tomorrow now will be our famous fishing forecast. We're giving away some Los Angeles cards and some fish from Tarpon Dock, and it'll be fresh. They've had, after this storm, those fish have been hungry. They say they've been shooting. They're starting to chew this week, so they've been chewing, and they're bringing some really nice fish today especially, and tomorrow they'll be bringing some in. So get a chance to go to Tarpon Dock. Got to wrap it up. Appreciate y'all watching the show. Show your friends about it and share the good news. Do something good today for fellow man. You have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.